Boasberg ordered an emergency hearing Friday night to hear arguments from the ACLU about a temporary restraining order that could potentially slow the Trump administration's use of the Alien Enemies Act. Let's bring in Justice Department reporter Jake Rosen. Jake, what did we learn?
Well, that's right. These proceedings are ongoing, but the ACLU is asking Boasberg to mandate that across potentially nationwide and specifically in Texas, reminder that this is a D.C. federal judge, to mandate at least 30 days written notice in English and Spanish for anyone who the Trump administration would deem potentially a member of Tren de Aragua. So that's a Venezuelan man in the United States, older than 14 years old. They see this as a big important step going into the weekend because they say that they have evidence from local attorneys across the country saying that their clients have been moved from detention centers all around the country to somewhere in northern Texas where the Trump administration is allegedly planning to deport people and do another set of these Alien Enemies Act flights, potentially to El Salvador. The Department of Justice says that no deportations are scheduled for tonight or tomorrow, but Boasberg has asked the Department of Justice to reconfirm that. There's a hearing Monday, and it seems like Boasberg is planning to rule something as to stay this case over the weekend and at least buy the ACLU potentially more time to kind of make sure that everybody here is getting due process before they're deported.
We have a lot of different stories to hit with you, Jake. So there was a ruling about the Turkish student arrested by ICE last month. What happened?
Well, that's right. Rumeysa Ozturk, who's that Tufts University student who was detained by the Trump administration and moved to Louisiana. Her attorneys argued in court in Vermont, where she was detained briefly and where her attorneys filed the suit. They asked for her full release from this detention center. The judge did not grant that, but he ordered that ICE move her from Louisiana, where she is currently being held, to Vermont so she can be in person for the future legal proceedings that are in her case. She's trying to block her deportation and also free herself from detention. That has not yet happened, and earlier this week, an immigration judge refused to release her back out into the public.
The DOJ keeps releasing information related to Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He is the man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador. What did we hear today? And there's a discrepancy about where he's being held.
Well, that's right. The Department of Homeland Security put out some information on social media today, citing Mr. Abrego Garcia getting pulled over in 2022 in Tennessee, where he was allegedly driving multiple men who were not from America in a car. They had no luggage with them, which led a state trooper to write in his police report that he thought potentially Mr. Abrego Garcia was involved in potentially human trafficking or moving illegal migrants around the country. There were no criminal charges ever filed for this. He was just given a citation for an expired license, but it certainly comes as the Trump administration has been pointing to not just that, but Mr. Abrego Garcia's past behavior and relationship with his wife. CBS News reviewed some court documents yesterday showing that he did have at least a couple alleged physical altercations with her. This comes as the Trump administration is trying to change the tide of how the public perceives him. You saw the president say in the Oval Office today that he is violent, and they're trying to harp on this message as Senator Chris Van Hollen came back today from Maryland after meeting with him, saying how much he supports Mr. Abrego Garcia and wants him back in the United States for due process proceedings to play out.
What else did the senator say, and is there any indication that his efforts to get Abrego Garcia back to the States are working?
Well, Chris Van Hollen said as soon as he got back to the United States at Dulles Airport in Virginia, he said that this case is bigger than just Mr. Abrego Garcia and it threatens potentially all Americans. Take a listen to what he had to say.
This case is not just about one man. It's about protecting the constitutional rights of everybody who resides in the United States of America. If you deny the constitutional rights of one man, you threaten the constitutional rights and due process for everyone else in America.
Well, you saw just there that Senator Van Hollen was really making this about not just Mr. Abrego Garcia or alleged gang members who have been deported, but also about college students who have been here studying and have been detained without their due process rights. And as we know, as there have been some reporting out there that President Trump is considering sending Americans to the Supermax prison in El Salvador, there's certainly a belief to be had, at least among Democrats, that once Americans would be down there, they would not have due process rights either and would not be able to get in touch with attorneys for future proceedings, potentially leaving them locked up there for a long time. Lindsay?
All right, Jake Rosen, thank you.